I think it's not necessarily me being a Black woman in logistics, which is an uncommon field for a female to run a business in. I don't think it has anything with challenges on that. I think that people set up challenges because of their own body language or how they interact with people. You and I had a discussion about somebody lately or recently who has an attitude and a disposition that's not very welcoming.
Right.
And no matter how wonderful your business is and how impactful your business is, if that is the first thing or the first person that someone meets, I don't want to do business with you.
Right.
It's you I'm doing business with, not your services. It's you I'm investing my time in, not your business. And I think so many people miss that.
What's up, fam? Before we get into today's episode, I want you to go check out our website at www.igotdreamspodcast.com and subscribe to our emailing list. We are creating the ultimate accountability group for entrepreneurs. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a business leader, if you are a dreamer, we want you to be a part of our group. All you got to do is go to www.igotdreamspodcast.com and subscribe to our emailing list, and we'll take it from there. This thing is going to be bigger than us, and we want you to be a part of it. Again, go to www.igotdreamspodcast.com and subscribe to our emailing list. Now, let's get back to the show.
What's going on, good people? Welcome to another episode of the I Got Dreams podcast, the ultimate accountability podcast, where we take entrepreneurs from A to B, from idea to execution, and we interview go-getters, we have great conversations with go-getters out here, people that are out here going after their dreams and grinding, man. And so today is no different. I have my sister, Miss Ayile Arnett, in the building, CEO of Arnett Logistics Groups, formerly known as Community Ride. That's what I know our company as, but we're going to get into it. Ayile, how you feeling?
Man, I'm good. I appreciate you having me on this one.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. So what's going on?
Man, I am less than 24 hours from making my first trip across seas because of the growth of my business.
Yeah.
It's something I have prayed for a really long time. And to be at this moment is just absolutely unreal.
Let's go.
And I'm prefacing that by being here on your show. So, man, I'm real good today.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So let the people know who you are, where you're from and all that good stuff.
Sure. So my name is Ayile Arnett, and I am actually originally from Madison, Wisconsin. I spent the first 18 years of my life there, got on out of there as soon as possible. I moved to Nashville, and I went to Tennessee State University, and I met my husband about 10 minutes later. After getting on campus, he checked me, represented tremendous. He checked me and made me laugh like I had never laughed before. And he was my boyfriend from there on out. And we got married a few years later. And after the passing of his father here in Memphis, we moved here in 2012. And I've been a Memphian since then.
All right. So tell me more about Arnett Logistics Group.
All right. So Arnett Logistics Group officially becomes a real company this coming up Tuesday. I have been growing Arnett Logistics Group for the last 5 years. Up until now, it's been known as Community Ride LLC. We started out as a patient transportation company, a non-emergent medical transport company. And we sold our technology back in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic and pivoted to freight and warehousing and logistics services. So we've been doing that for about 2.5 years. And it's been wonderful. It was a great transition. My husband had already 20 years in logistics experience. I have a master's in business administration, minor in statistics. It was a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So what was the call for the name change? I know you as Community Ride, and you said the next Tuesday it will be officially Arnett Logistics Group. So what was the cause for the change?
So when we were a patient transport company, Community Ride made a lot of sense. Community Ride. It was a lot of implied, ideas around what the name could be and what it meant and what type of service we provided. But when we decided to, continue to grow our company as a logistics company, one of the things that I kept hitting walls with was the name. Well, what is commuter ride? What is it that you guys do? How do you spell that? It was just a lot. And so, we kind of had a strategy meeting. We do a SWOT analysis every 6 months with our company. Like, I take the things that people learn in programs like Co-Starters, I take those things super serious. So we have business meetings every 6 months to strategize on different things, different paths, and what we want to do with the company. And I had just gotten back from pitching to a pharmacy procurement company. They brought in medications from different countries and redistributed them here in America. And we spent probably the first 15 minutes trying to figure out how to spell commuter ride prior to my arrival, what it was, why that was the name, was I a good fit, because what do I really do? It was almost like God was like, look, I'm going to put this meeting here, so when y'all meet later, just go ahead and change that. So we just decided at that point, it just was too confusing. We had been talking about a family legacy for I don't know how long, and it was just a natural progression to, grow a company that not only reflected our name, but it also spoke specifically to what we did.
Yeah, that's dope. Even in that, so you were in the meeting and they were trying to figure out how to spell community ride. It's like, what even is it? So did you have any pride when it came to changing the name, or you was like, this is what we gotta do?
Yeah. Well, we had come across, we had talked about a few different names. One of them was Regional Express. Mm-hmm. We were trying to think, do we really want to move it with our name, or do we want to just have it be a business and let it stand on its own 2 feet? And, there's 4 of us and we had a vote, and Arnett Logistics Group was run with flying colors.
Awesome. So you're from Michigan, right?
Wisconsin.
I don't know why I thought Michigan. Because it's all up north. But, so you came down here for college, right? You met your husband, married, moved to Memphis. So what was that transition like for you, like from the north to the south?
Oh, so I'm just going to be honest. I'm not sure exactly what the demographics and the breakdown of your listeners are, but I'm just going to speak from a perspective of a Black woman living in the north, moving to the south. So in Madison, I thought that I was amongst a pretty diverse environment. I had boyfriends that were Japanese. I had boyfriends that were Hmong. I knew people from every.
You got a Japanese boyfriend?
I did. Josh was awesome. He was pretty cool. He was dope. I love him. He was awesome.
I don't know why they're surprising.
Really? Yeah. He played viola and I played cello. Man, we was real cool. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, and I think in the race situation right now, a lot of people will say, I don't see race, I don't see gender, but you do. You just don't care. You see it, but you just don't care. And so when I was in Wisconsin, it didn't matter that I was amongst a severe minority. It didn't matter that there was a lot of, other races, but there weren't very many Black people. And so when I got out of Wisconsin and I hit a culture shock when I came to Tennessee State, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do. And I didn't even realize I spoke differently. I even speak differently now that I'm in Memphis, but my accent was different. Everybody said, oh, you talk like a white person, which I really don't understand that. But, you talk proper. And I'm just like, I'm just speaking. This is how you speak. And this is how you pronounce this word, right? But, coming down to Tennessee, it was different. And I think I began really quickly to realize that, I was amongst this bigger group and there were certain norms and things that I was doing differently, as opposed to my peers. And I felt really out of place really, really quick. Mm-hmm. And so getting around my husband, Steve, and his school friends and the way that they, conducted themselves, they were just really, really funny, a great group of people. I had never met anybody from Memphis. I'd been to Memphis once when I was like 3, so it was just a big culture change. But I don't want to say I don't miss the North, but I definitely can't see myself living there ever again. Mm-hmm. I was there like a year ago to visit one of my best friend's moms. She had a program up there, and I stopped at a Target, and it was in a city right outside of Madison where I grew up. I was the only Black person in that Target. Mm-hmm. And when I'm walking down the aisles, I've got a shopping cart, probably had a business suit on because I had just left the event. and people are literally grabbing their children and holding them close. I was like, what is this? Is this how it was when I was up here and I just was blind to it? I just accepted it. You know, and it's just, oh my goodness, the North is just, it's quite a bit different from the South.
Yeah. So let's have this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a great conversation, and I'm going to take it somewhere. So from the North to the South, which is still in the United States, right? So you notice the difference, like the culture shock, right? So let me ask you this. Could it be just like a difference of personalities rather than race?
Oh, because I think you have people who have grew up in the South who have come to the North, and even their disposition changes. Just like me coming from the North and moving to the South, I think differently about the people that I meet. You know, my kids go to schools where it's 98% Black. You know, when we see kids that are of a different color than them at school, and I'm kind of like, oh, I didn't know we had that kind of student here. That's great, you know. I think, honestly, wherever you move to, despite where you were born, you're going to slowly assimilate yourself to be a part of that group. It's unfortunate, but it's also fortunate too, because I feel like I have grown quite a bit since moving out of Wisconsin and understanding my own self and the importance of uplifting and encouraging my own community.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, have you seen that in business? And I ask, is it personality versus race? Because some people treat rich people better than poor people, or different than poor people, you know, and like some people, like, they don't know like how off-putting they could be, you know, or towards a certain race, or it might not be intentional, you know. And I'm just having a conversation. Do I think it's race? Sometimes I do. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think that people see me as a Black man that's you know, trying to make something happen, and, you know, just trying to change the community, and, you know, if they don't hold that, you know what I mean? And some people do, you know what I mean? So I try to focus on, you know, the community that I help and that wants me to help, you know what I mean? And so when it comes to the business side, have you ever experienced, like, I guess, like, that type of differences, whether it's race, whether it's age, whether it's personality? Like, have you ever experienced that?
So I'm going to answer your question, but I'm also going to put something in there, because I think that is the impression that you give people. It's your body language as well. When I first met you at Corbin's party years ago.
Shout out to Corbin.
Shout out to Corbin, man. What's up, attorney carpenter? But when I first met you and I was just kind of moving around the room, I noticed your smile first. Your face cannot frown.
It really can.
You have these cheeks. And Brittany, I know she has to squeeze them all the time. You know,
I'll be in the store sometimes, like, on my phone, they're like, what you smiling for? I didn't know I was smiling.
Really?
So what you
have the same face. I don't frown. I can't. It's impossible for me to frown. There are so much amazing things that are happening, you know, in my life and in my business and my family. It's like, what am I frowning for? I'm always happy. I just have no reason to be upset. And I think in my circumstances, when I'm introducing myself, or I'm in rooms where I can move and rub elbows with the right people, my body language invites people to me. You know, I'm an extrovert, and I can tell that you're an extrovert too. I don't have not one problem talking to anybody. Not one person. My friend Robert, just shout out to Robert Farmer in Care One Medical Services. But my friend Robert, I met him in a chamber event 1 year ago today. I just got a text message from him and his sister, Miss Barbara, and I met them at a chamber event because I literally had too many things in my hands. And I was like, look, y'all, I need to eat. Y'all got space at your table. I'm finna sit here. I know you don't know me, but we're going to get to know each other. And so many wonderful things have happened since that 1 year point, since that point 1 year ago. I think it's not necessarily me being a Black woman in logistics, which is an uncommon field for a female to run a business in. I don't think it has anything with challenges on that. I think that people set up challenges because of their own body language or how they interact with people. You and I had a discussion about somebody lately or recently who has an attitude and a disposition that's not very welcoming.
Right.
And no matter how wonderful your business is and how impactful your business is, if that is the first thing or the first person that someone meets, I don't want to do business with you.
Right.
It's you I'm doing business with, not your services. It's you I'm investing my time in.
Yeah.
Not your business. And I think so many people miss that.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody's born to be an extrovert. I get it. My husband's an introvert. That's why we work so well together. But I think, you know, when you're in your business world, you have got to be the best version of yourself at any given time.
It's dope. I think I'm borderline extrovert. And like I'm introvert when I need to be, you know, like when I'm out, you know, talking and all that stuff. Well, I'm introverted like when I'm here, or introverted when I'm here just chilling. I want to be left alone. But what I heard you say, you didn't necessarily say it, but what I heard when you were speaking is building relationships is so important.
Right.
And like, no matter if you like you went up to a guy that basically said, hey, I don't know what I want, but I just know like I want to get to know you. I want to, you know, build this relationship with you, and maybe on down the line, something will come from it. But right now, I'm working on this relationship, and I love that. So it's not necessarily about race. It's not necessarily about you being a female in logistics. It's about the relationship that you build. That's dope right there.
Look at what 2016 done brought. Who would have known I'd be sitting in this seat of this dope podcast this many years later from just a simple hello, get up off that wall, let me snap a picture of you.
Right. Yeah, here we are. We got like brothers and sisters ever since then.
Man, I'm no good for you. You ain't no good for me. We're going to encourage each one to, man, you got an idea to grow some beans. I'm going to be with you. Well, do it.
Right, to the end. Forever. Hey, while we're talking about that, I just wanted people to know that my transportation company, my wife in that transportation company, she was the main reason why we got into transportation. And once we decided to do it, we deemed her our mentor. We didn't ask her anything. It was just like, no, let's go have lunch. Like, this is what we need. Like, give us your knowledge, and let's help us grow with us. Whatever knowledge, right? We'll help you with whatever information that we have as well. So I appreciate that. So it's about building those relationships, man. It's so, hey, let's go back into your story, right? So I'm just feel from that conversation. That was actually pretty good. So you are in Memphis now, right? So what was your first job when you got out of college?
Oh, well, so are we talking undergrad or graduate school? That's two different cities.
Okay. So where did you do grad?
So I did grad. It was an online program, Bethel University right down the street. Shout out Bethel. Great opportunity, great program. I took everything I could from that. I graduated 4 months early, wasn't playing. But yeah, no, when I graduated from there, I had moved to Memphis, and we were still living with my husband's mother at her home in Whitehaven. Shout out to Sally. Love her. She helped us grow and, save so that we could buy our own house. And it's just been a really great experience. But yeah, so my first job was at a hospice center. And it was,
It's the burn.
It was a experience.
Yeah, that had to be rough.
Yeah. I mean, not only just because of my own personal, it was awful to just know that, we were in business because people were passing away. That just sucked. But just the experience with the leadership of that company, it taught me a lot about what I didn't want for myself. I don't think at that time I had thought about being an entrepreneur, but I knew that I wanted more than that. And the woman who ran that company showed me a lot about what I didn't want to do when I started my own company, or just how to move in Memphis. It was not a good experience, but it was a great experience to learn from.
Yeah. So she was like a mentor to you in a way to show you what you did not want.
Matt, you bring up a really good point, because people can mentor you to show you what not to do.
Right.
That's a really good point. I don't think a lot of people value that. They just see it as a bad experience. But you're right.
Yeah.
Without that experience, I would not have had the growth that I had in my own self when starting my own things.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I had a lot of unofficial mentors. Like I would watch people lives, like a football coach. Like I watched his like see how he like handled us as kids. How he was a good husband to his wife, and all that good stuff. And so I modeled after that. And there were people like in the community that weren't necessarily doing good things in the community. Then I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So both of those like were my mentors. Want to show me what I wanted to do. Want to show me what I didn't want to do. Right? They both gave me like great perspective.
Exactly.
And so yeah. So when does Community Ride come about? Of course, just for clarification, it's Arnett Logistics Group now started out as Community Ride. How was that born?
So that was born out of someone else's dream. So a few years ago, I was introduced to a young lady who is a very bright young woman, just extremely intelligent. And I'm just so blessed to be in a city like Memphis because of the percentage of people here, you have so many opportunities to meet people who are like different. Mm-hmm. And so introduced myself, got introduced with this young lady, and we knew each other for about a year or so before deciding to join together and work on a business. Mm-hmm. And so she and I had started a non-emergent medical transportation company because of an idea that she had because of some significant vulnerabilities in our community. If I remember this right, her idea to start this NEMT company was because there was a sign outside of one of our hospitals here that said, free cab rides for new moms. And even still today, what is that? Yeah. You just had a baby, and literally your support system includes nobody that can even give you a ride home from the hospital. Sure. That's insane. And so when she, shared her idea with me and, asked me to join her in this endeavor, I was like, oh yeah, let's do this. At the time I was working in healthcare. I was working as a project manager. Numbers were my thing. Always looking at data, looking at vulnerable communities. Literally my job was to help people connect themselves to community resources to keep them out of the hospital. And so we ended up starting the business together, worked with each other for about a year. And, unfortunately, we didn't get to continue that journey, but the company is still going and the impact is still there. And that's the most important thing, is that everything is still moving forward and it's, still something that's a bright spot for Memphis to claim. And so when I decided to leave, then I knew that I was going to be able to still make my own impact. And I had made, a ton of relationships over the 6-month period that we were trying to grow that company. And I had some opportunities to get some immediate contracts. And so Community Ride was born years old again.
So when you switched over Community Ride from the, community aspect of it, of non-emergency transportation to like a logistics company, like hauling freight, what came about that decision? And what did that look like for you? Like when you made that switch, what did you say, like, I wanted this to look like?
Well, honestly, when we were approached, we weren't even thinking about, the reason we even pivoted was because we were approached about our technology. Mm-hmm. For the NEMT company that I built technology behind it, because one of the things that I learned when working with that young lady was that technology was super important, because a lot of people here in Memphis who were moving patients around were using Excel sheets. They were using pieces of paper. I mean, HIPAA privacy was out the window. And so I knew that when I wanted to start my own company, I wanted to make sure that it was backed by some fire technology. And it was. And so there was a gentleman out east who inquired about it. We had met at a conference. He was like, I think this could work for what I'm doing out here. Would you, be open to licensing it to me? And so when we ended up selling that technology, we had this capital. And I knew that I didn't know anything else except outside of healthcare. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, I don't know if I want to start another NEMT company. But my husband was like, well, what do you think about trucking? What do you think about, staying in transportation, but just solving a different problem? Mm-hmm. Instead of the people transportation problem, why don't we solve some problems that are happening in the logistics field? And I'm like, okay, let's take a look at it. And so did some research, and, of course, he worked for a Fortune 500 company at the time, and it just seemed like a natural fit, and we look forward.
Awesome, just dope. So you sold your technology to a company, took that money and invested into the trucks, build the trucks up. Cool. So what was when you guys went into the transportation company, like after you sold the technology to buy the trucks? So what did you say was your dream when you sold the company or sold the technology, bought the trucks? Like what would you say was your dream at that point when getting into box trucks?
I think my dream on day one is the same big dream that I have today, which is to remain an asset-based company. I want to always be able to own the equipment that I use to move my freight. I think it's a huge opportunity for small businesses to grow as you can, if you can. In the trucking industry, it carries weight when your clients know that if you have the opportunity to fold tomorrow, you couldn't just exit the industry immediately, right? If you have a bunch of leased trucks and you're, on a month-to-month contract with your leasing agent, literally you could shut your business down at the end of the month and you would have no ties. You could just walk away and take your money and go. But when you approach the conversation, when you approach the table as an asset-based company, people know that you have skin in the game. Mm-hmm. I can't walk away from these trucks. Mm-hmm. I have purchased these trucks. I'm going to have to, if I wanted to sell them, it's going to take time. I'm contracted with this warehouse space that I have. I can't leave this industry for another 3 years, and I think that makes a difference.
Awesome. So, when you get these trucks, right? So you get your authority, your MC, all that good stuff. How did you start making those connections to the people that you want to move freight for?
So I have to give a huge shout out to the Greater Memphis Chamber. Shout out to the Greater Memphis Chamber. They have been unbelievable. I've also had quite a few connections made through MMBC. They are the folks who gave us or helped certify us as a minority business enterprise. But my experience with the chamber has been unmatched. How I made most of my connections are through events that I have been at where I've just introduced myself or bumped into people who have been absolutely life-changing for me. Networking is critical. Mm-hmm. We talked earlier about, just being an extrovert and being the best version of yourself when you're out there in the community. But when you have the opportunity to be in front of people specifically that I care, I absolutely cannot still understand that God has placed me in the same city as a lot of people who are moving and shaking here in Memphis. It's insane. And the people that I have gotten to meet who are in my industry and other industries, it's just unmatched. But I think if you network and you utilize the space that you are in, it's going to take you to the absolute next level.
Yeah, it's dope. It goes back to what we were talking about, building those relationships, right? Yeah. So when you, again, we got these box trucks, right? Now we need to move freight. Do you remember the first load that you booked for your truck?
My first load was a brokered load. It was stepped on money. Bless us. It was a $900 load. I went from Memphis to, I think it was either Senatobia or some city over there, but it was a $900 load, and I thought I had hit the lottery. Yeah. Come on. They think it's not us towns to go 60 miles down the street. Little did I know there wasn't nobody, but it was a brokered load. Our first year in transportation. I don't know if anybody is interested in being in transportation, but it's very difficult to get work your first year because your MC is just so young. You can't work with half the people you want to work with, and the people who can work with you don't know you, never heard of you, and don't trust you with their freight. And so for us to, have gotten connected with a load board and understood the importance of what that was going to do for our company in the very early stages, it just really, it was cool. So yeah, our first loan was a profit loan.
Awesome. And so, what did the growth of your company look like? I know you started off with one box truck. What does that growth look like to get to like the second box truck, the third box truck? So,
Well, so technically our first vehicle was a Sprinter van.
okay.
So we had a Sprinter van, and that was the very first thing that we used to move freight in. We moved 3 pallets. That was our capacity. And then we bought the box truck as the Sprinter van, gained more revenue, and we just kind of grew from there. Every time, our revenue increased to a certain point, again, going back to that strategy, you have to have a business plan, then you have to stick to it. And you bet not buy nothing until your business plan says that you're supposed to buy it. And so when your vehicle is able to, create enough revenue and that profit margin as to where it needs to be, regardless of the fluctuation in the industry at the time, now it's ready to, you're ready to buy another asset.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are a firm believer of cash versus loans, right? Like, why?
I want to always own 100% of my company. I always want to be able to make 100% of the decisions for my company. I don't want to feel as if I can't grow unless I use someone else's money. But I do understand that. So about a year ago, well, not a year ago, about 6 months ago, we had an opportunity for a huge contract with the city. And it would have required us to purchase, I want to say it was $600,000 worth of inventory every month.
$600,000 every month.
$600,000 every month, to fulfill this need. We have the ability to carry it in our trucks, but part of the contract was that you had to buy the inventory that you were moving as well, and you would be basically reimbursed for the entire, that was your product. And so in order to meet something like that, a hefty, lofty goal like that, we would have needed funding. I would have hated it, but some cases you just have to absolutely, you have to be able to get some type of investment to be able to grow.
Yep.
But if you try to grow on a small scale and you have goals and plans, if you have not already, people listening, if you have not already developed a relationship with your banker who understands numbers, who understands trajectories, do it now. Even if you just go take them some cookies and some milk and sit down and learn more about what a profit and loss statement is, take those tiny steps to build that relationship, because when it's time for you to make a move for your company, you are going to have somebody in your pocket, if they know what they're doing, that will help take you to the next level. It'll help you make good decisions.
Yeah, that's dope. That's great advice too. So let's say that's someone out there that wants to start a transportation company, right? What needs to be their first step in doing so?
I guess I would say your first thing that you would want to do is determine what kind of freight do you want to move. Are you trying to, because there's so many facets of transportation. You have the courier side, which we do courier. We do daily courier service. Mm-hmm. We do a medication delivery service every day. We do the freight side as far as moving it in our box trucks. And then we also have the warehousing piece. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of a triple threat. We have three sources of income for our business. But I would think the first thing is to do your research and see what kind of transportation you want to be in. What do you want to do? Do you want to dispatch? Because that's a field too. Mm-hmm. Do you want to move LTL freight, which is what we do? We don't have any tractor trailers, although Q3 of next year, that's on the plan. It's on the horizon. We'll see. Hopefully it happens. But what kind of freight do you want to move? And one of the things that, and I'm just gonna segue into this. One of the things that I'm doing literally 24 hours from now is I'm going to go visit Ghana, Africa. Mm-hmm. And we were introduced to this idea through Jamerson Strategic Consulting. Shout out to Jill Rana.
Shout out to Jill. She's going to be on the podcast soon.
Yes. Thank you for orchestrating this amazing opportunity for us to go over there and meet some people who are going to change our lives, hopefully. But, once you find out what type of freight or what type of industry you want to be in, or what type of subcategory you want to be in the industry, then start doing your research. Data mm-hmm. is something that will help you, make some serious decisions for your company. And once you decide that, then start introducing yourself. Figure out where these people are going.
Yeah.
Figure out what they're interested in. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some different names, but there are people, I won't shout anybody out, but there are people that I knew that I wanted to grow my company to be very similar to theirs. And so I would not only, follow them on LinkedIn, but the events that they liked and the events that they had said that they were going to, I started showing up at.
Yeah.
If you're successful in this industry and you know what you're doing and you're interested in this, I'm interested in it now.
Right.
And that's basically another way that I started, kind of growing our company, because I was now in the right room, because people who are way up here, they're doing these things. So if I'm trying to get up here, I need to be doing these things too.
Yeah, that's dope. I want to get into the Ghana part, but first I want to ask you, are you a data-driven person? Because as you're talking, you mentioned business plan a lot. You mentioned sticking to the plan, don't make a move, or the actual business plan. So how did you have this mindset to the where I'm going to let the data make the decisions rather than my emotions?
So it really came from my career in healthcare. So when I was in grad school, I had minored in statistics. So I learned from a very early career age that numbers can really help your business tell a story. And it can also help you make sure that you're going in the right direction or course correct from the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my role in healthcare, I was project manager, and I was over reducing readmissions in the hospital. And part of that was looking at the data, seeing from the Medicare 6, what are you guys coming in with? What are the diagnoses? What part of town do you live in? The diagnosis that you're coming in with, are there resources in your community that can help you mitigate these problems?
Mm-hmm.
And so all of that is numbers. It's all numbers. It's zip codes, it's population size, it's readmission rates. Everything is numbers. Everything comes down to numbers. And I knew when I was, kind of trying to make my name in the healthcare world, that unless I came to my hospital CEO, which she's a president, Dr. Florence Jones, you wasn't coming to her with just no ideas. You were coming to her with a plan backed with data, because she didn't play either. And so my numbers and my belief and strength in numbers came from healthcare, and understanding that people in the hospital world and the medical field aren't going to really listen to you unless you actually have something to back it up with.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's actually pretty dope. Because that's what I strive to do. I feel like I'm becoming more of that person to where I'm not just moving off emotion, but I'm moving based on what the numbers say, what the data say. So that's actually great advice for any entrepreneur, period. Look at your data and pay attention to the numbers. Don't move off of feelings, move off of the data. So now let's get into this Ghana opportunity, right? So how did they come across your desk? You know what? Before that, when I didn't even know you and Jill knew each other. Like when I saw y'all together at Epicenter, I was like, "Oh, that's powerful right there."
So she's pretty dope.
Yeah.
I met Jill. She knows better than I do, but we met about a year ago at a conference that she was. I think it was from the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
It was something dealing with the chamber, and I think she was a presenter there. And I was like, "Man, this girl, little pink crowd up there, right? Things okay? Let's see what that's talking about." And so I think I sat in on one of her sessions. Mamie came afterwards and told her how great of a job she did and was looking forward to meeting her again. And then fast forward a year, Patricia McKinney at the chamber, she had so I believe Jill and I and another young lady and 2 other businesses were recipients of the IKEA Foundation grant. Mm-hmm. And Miss Patricia had us have a post meeting where we could sit down and, get introduced to the other recipients. And Jill was there. I was like, "Yeah, what's up? What you doing?" And I think at that time she was like, "I'm putting together a trip to Ghana." I was like, "What's up?" Just that on, and that just kind of, here we are today.
Yeah. That's dope. What was the IKEA Foundation? Great.
So the IKEA Foundation, they were working with the chamber. I want to say this was last November. And they were giving out small business grants of $5,000 to businesses that wanted to impact their, individual communities. And because IKEA just built a facility here in Memphis, well, not just, but it's been here for a while, but we were one of the cities that received it. So now it's just one of the people who got it.
That's dope. For me, the story, I'm hearing like opportunity, after opportunity after opportunity. And not just that, but that you execute on the opportunity. Like you meet people, something comes up, like an opportunity comes up, and boom, you're ready. Can you speak to how important it is to be ready when the opportunity presents itself?
So I learned I have to give this particular credit to Starco and Eric Matthews and Andre, because that intensive program that we went through, we learned every single day how to, perfect your pitch and to always be ready to share whatever you needed to share at any given time. It was great practice. And that 3-month period, I learned a lot from them. So I had been in some opportunities and some rooms with some people that I didn't realize that I was going to be at. I no longer go and pick up my groceries from Target in my car, even in the drive up. I don't go in my pajamas no more. I used to. I ain't gonna lie, when I knew the shopping at Target, I do go in my pajamas. That's the car I want to dress up for. But you never know who you're going to meet. You mess around and pull up right next to somebody, who's on the board of the board of directors for the chamber. Like, mom, you just never know.
My wife told me that. I hated it. That hurts bad to know. Like, she right though. You know what I mean?
I know. He take my kids to school.
Somebody go see you. That person that you been waiting to meet is just gonna be right there looking at you. Ain't no pajama.
It's like, hey, look, I'm in the shopping. You can't do that. So yeah, always being ready. But I think, even with my husband, thank the Lord and praise God, he was able to retire from his position at his company and join us full time this past January. Mm-hmm. And so, he's really been the background guy. He's our driver trainer. He's our partner, but he's our driver trainer. He, does maintenance on our trucks. He's the background dude.
Yeah.
But he even has realized that certain things that he goes to and places that he goes and there's opportunities for him to share our business and meet clients and, further conversations. And so it's kind of been sharing that with him as well. Every day you've got to practice what you do, because every day your company should be growing. I shouldn't be talking about what services I provide. They shouldn't be the same things that I provided 6 months ago. I need to be adding more things on. I need to be talking about different things. AI is a huge thing. It's huge in logistics. I'm starting to incorporate that in my conversation too, because that's something that I want to incorporate. At some point in time. So yeah,
that's great. So rule number 1: don't get caught in your pajamas, right?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Always be prepared, right? And so on the AI tip, I know some people are still confused about AI, like whether you should use it, whether will you be seeing faith for using it? But I feel like if you use it in the right way, in the ethical way, it's a great tool. I attended a podcast summit last week, and they gave a lot of great information on AI. I've been using AI like a little bit, like for my podcast, but after hearing like his presentation and all the tools that AI really has to offer, but I'm about to AI it up in here. You know what I mean? Like, right.
Yeah. When people think about AI, they put it into 2 categories. They put it into like robotics, like, fake people, and then they put it into this chat GPT box. Yeah. But AI has so many other degrees of usefulness. Like, for instance, in logistics, AI has helped us, at least the software that I'm using, AI has helped my warehouse management system. And when we're receiving freight, AI helps me to determine where to store it at in my warehouse. So instead of the person who's in my warehouse who's working, receives the freight, is creating this inbound report, and they're thinking, okay, this box is 24 inches by 36 inches. It needs to go on shelf C65. That's 3 minutes of thinking work where you could be doing something different. AI, when you receive it and you scan that barcode, it knows the dimensions and it knows the dimensions of my shelf. So it's going to tell the person, put it over there.
Yeah.
That's AI.
Yeah.
It's helpful. But, it's not something that's, devious or anything. It's great.
Yeah. I like the fact that you casually mentioned you have a warehouse. Like it's, just a small piece. So that's awesome. So you are really deep into the transportation industry.
Trying to be. We just celebrated our 5th birthday. getting ready to celebrate our 6th birthday. Well, I guess it was back in May, but we're getting ready to have our 6th birthday. So we're going to be kindergartners.
Awesome.
In May.
Nice. So I will want to get into the warehouse piece, but I think you gave like so much great information, just our transportation already. I want to move back to Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your expectations on Ghana when you go?
I have none. I have none at all because I think I'm so open to anything. So I'm just going to slide this in here. My first name is Ghanaian, and it means first daughter. So my name is from Ghana. So I'm hoping that shares opens up a lot of doors in conversation. Yeah. But honestly, I'm just open to hearing what is going on over there. What I don't want to appear as and what I don't want to do is go over there and figure out how I can come up. That's not what I'm trying to do. And I don't think any new business, even that's trying to open their doors here in Memphis, should have that mindset. I'm not trying to figure out how I can just come up on the city.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out how I can grow a business that's going to impact lives. How am I going to establish this entity that is going to do something amazing over there? Just like how am I doing something over here that is planting seeds in the Whitehaven community? When I talked to your co-starters group the other day, I'm just amazed that so many businesses in Whitehaven are growing. Doggy, we got Starbucks, bro.
Yeah, I saw it. We went to it.
Yes. And there's people outside on the patio reading.
Yeah.
What that shows me, and even though Starbucks is a franchise, what that shows me is that little kids that are being picked up from school, at the end of the day, their parents are driving past that Starbucks, and unconsciously, they're seeing people on the patio reading because they want to. Yeah. That's what I'm getting.
That's a great perception of it. Like, I never even thought about that before. Like, maybe we don't like reading because we haven't seen people read before. Only thing we've seen is like our teacher making us read, but we never seen anybody wants to read on their own leisure. You know what I mean? That's pretty dope.
It is dope. I mean, the same thing. I got the same experience from when they were building. I was still at the hospital at that time, but when they were building the police precinct in that huge lake and walking area that resembles Shelby Park, but out of Raleigh, that huge off of Covington Pike, same thing. You got people out here walking because they want to. You got a skateboard park. There are other things to do. And now we see it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm excited about. But going back to Ghana, that's what I'm about. When we get to Ghana, I have absolutely no expectations because I want to learn so much when I get over there. I don't want to go over there with any, preconceptions or anything. I don't know if that's a word, but I don't want to go over there with any expectations or anything. I just want to go over there and see what they're doing. And how can my business fit into what you all are already aspiring to?
Yeah. Like, that's dope. That's such a dope perspective. And it just shows like the purity of your heart. You are a good soul. So we have reached the end of our time together. No, but this has been a dope conversation, man. It's always good chopping up with you. But before we go, can you give, first, let the people know where to find you at and give us a word of advice or word of encouragement.
So, not sure when this will be published, but the website is Arnett Logistics with an S group.com. Arnett is spelled ARNETT. And you can find me anywhere. I'm not really super active on Facebook. We're not a consumer facing company. So really we're mostly on LinkedIn, which I need to get greater on that. But you can find me on LinkedIn. We're out in the Oak Haven area. Stop by. I'm there all the time. Always got some type of chocolate or coffee ready to give. But yeah, that's all right.
Awesome. So it's just Ayile Arnett. I'm with it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Spelling of my name is Ayile. Last name is Arnett. You'll see a pretty picture.
Awesome. So leave us with a word of encouragement.
Number one, open this podcast up and listen to it every single day. Somebody on this podcast is going to change your life and change your perspective, and you're going to miss it if you don't listen. So make this a part of your every single day list of things that you do. Second, keep moving forward. You may not be at a point where you're ready to start your business, but you're ready to start your dream, and you're ready to start dreaming and, basically forming those dreams and figuring out what you want to do, and just keep making steps every day to get closer to what you can, and get yourself around people like Mike. Get yourself around people who are dreamers and people who, pour into the community. Like, places and platforms like this are so important for small business owners. I'm still technically considered, a baby in this industry, but my lofty goals are, to keep growing and impacting folks and bringing them along with me. So, but yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Awesome. That's dope, man. I love that. And I love you.
I love you too.
Also, remember to follow the I Got Dreams podcast on all platforms. Like, comment, subscribe. Yes, like, comment, subscribe. Everywhere. We appreciate the feedback. I know we have some people that really rock with us, man. So we appreciate y'all. Y'all are definitely the fam. But we love y'all. Have a blessed and wonderful day. Peace.
Fam, thank you for listening to this episode. I know you just received a lot of value. So look, here's what I want you to do now. Go to our social media platforms on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok at I Got Dreams Podcast everywhere, and like, comment, subscribe to all those channels, and let's continue the conversation on there. Look, I told you before, we are creating the ultimate accountability group for entrepreneurs, and we want you to be a part of that group. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe to our channels at I Got Dreams Podcast everywhere, and we'll see you there. Peace.